to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. This is my good buddy, Sam Jackson. You are watching NHL Aftermath, and I'm going to try to get the date right this time, Sammy. Episode 4, June 17th, 2023. How's that?
There you go. That was perfect.
We're not in 2010 anymore. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely excellent. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it pre-show last time or if it was during the show, but I told you I had a little bit of a surprise for you.
Yes.
I'm now going to unveil the surprise. So this is courtesy of, so first of all, before I get into that, courtesy of a great dude that I used to work with. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, he had to move to Calgary and get away from our shop, which sucks because he's an awesome dude. He's actually a former military guy too. He had to do what he had to do with all the interest rates going up. It just got to a point that he had to, for his family. Anyway, this is a big shout out to Matt. Thank you, Matt. If you can see that.
Oh, Vancouver 2010 Olympic jersey.
That is correct.
Oh.
And
their name on the back? Oh, bro.
Just thought I would show that to you.
Yeah, rub that into me, why don't you?
I was so thrilled to have it. I told him I was going to frame it. I actually went to a place. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah, you're familiar with Kelowna. Well, we worked. So down the block from where we used to
I grew up there.
But down the block from where we used to work is a place called West Coast Authentics.
Yep.
You know where that is. Well, it turns out they closed down about 6 months ago. And I went there to see if I could get I went to see if I could get a signed Luongo 8x10 or something. Yeah, they I went next door to the JB Automotive, I think it is right there, because I want to maybe do something work to my car, but they're shut down. On all my memorabilia, my Sidney Crosby that you see in the background, all my Oilers memorabilia came from that store, so it kind of sucks, but I'll have to find another place where I can get it. Anyway, on this episode, we are obviously going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights winning the Stanley Cup. Congratulations, to my dismay, but congratulations on the Vegas Golden Knights. And I will always congratulate that team because that trophy, I'll always stand by my words when I say, is the hardest trophy in all of professional sports to win. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the buyout phase that's now kicked in. And is it confirmation that OEL has been bought out, or is it still speculation? So
it's confirmed.
Okay, and you got a little bit of, you were writing down the notes and all that kind of stuff. So I can't wait to get your take on that when we get into that.
It's a take.
And then we're just going to recap the playoffs in general of what were our biggest surprises. You told me your bracket wasn't very good. You read it off.
Nope.
It was about 90% inaccurate. And
probably more than 90%. I had predicted 2 series correct.
Bad. Yeah. So anyway, guys, if any of you guys are joining us right on, we have officially set this channel now is an official channel of Oilers Aftermath. It is no longer going to be on Lubed. However, I will take the copies of this episode and put it on Lube for the next few weeks just for all of you guys. But anyway, Sammy, without further ado, let's talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, let's talk about the Vegas Golden Knights and their win. Jonathan Marchessault wins MVP of the playoffs. You think that's right or wrong?
I think that's fair. I mean, he had, 13 goals in the playoffs, which was, the same as Leon Draisaitl, and Draisaitl played 2 less rounds. So, kind of interesting. But Jonathan Marchessault was a stud. He's an original Golden Knight. He was fantastic. He was great in that Stanley Cup final. He was great in the last game. Yeah, I think it's fair. Honestly, but for any Vegas player, it probably would have been between him and Jack Eichel, most likely. Maybe Aiden Hill, but probably Eichel or Marchessault. I think it's fair, for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. It is a toss-up because I thought Adin Hill was sensational.
Yeah.
Jack Eichel was very good as well. Um, the whole team played really good. But yeah, Marchessault just seemed to turn it up at the right time. And that's where, yeah, I think they got the vote right on that one.
Yeah.
Big question for you. Do you
Yeah.
think if Tkachuk never got hurt, do you think the Vegas Golden Knights would still have won that cup?
So I was actually talking about this with a coworker of mine, friend of mine. We drove up to Calgary and back today for a business meeting. And while we're driving back, we just talked about hockey pretty much the entire way back. And he mentioned, like, we started talking about the injuries, Matt Tkachuk having a broken sternum. And there was a point in game 4 where right at the end, Florida has that scramble around the net right in front of Adin Hill. And Matthew Tkachuk gets the puck wide open. The net, Adin Hill's down on the ground, the net's wide open, and Tkachuk shoots it. I can't remember if he shoots it wide or shoots it straight into Adin Hill, but he doesn't get the puck lifted and into the net. Where I didn't even think about that. I just thought he whiffed on it, but my friend pointed out that, hey, if Matthew Tkachuk is healthy and he's able to snap that puck like he always does, that puck's probably in the net, most likely. And that game goes to overtime. And then who knows? Florida didn't lose a single overtime game all playoffs. Do they continue that trend? Is that series then tied going to game 5 in Vegas? Who knows, right?
Could be. My arguing point is Vegas was so dominating when he was healthy. So
yeah, no, they were. Vegas was
a bigger team. They're a bigger team than Florida.
Vegas was the better team. They weren't injured. Like Florida was beaten and bruised. You know, Tkachuk with that bruised or with the broken sternum, not even bruised, broken sternum. I think Aaron Ekblad had like a broken ankle or something like that, or broken foot. I think he also had something about like he dislocated his shoulder as well. Like Radko Gudas had some crazy injury. Like everyone on that team was just destroyed. Vegas, I haven't heard a single injury from Vegas. I'm sure there were some, but I haven't heard anything about them. If Vegas remained completely healthy through the playoffs, there's no wonder they steamrolled to it.
It never happens, Sammy. You don't go 4 rounds through that and not sustain some bumps and bruises along the way. You just don't. You don't.
Yeah.
Last year, Darnell Nurse with the what was it, core muscle tear. Leon Draisaitl with the sprained ankle, high ankle sprain, and he was playing still at a high level. These guys, and that's why I say, Sammy, that's why I will always, no matter if I like a team or dislike a team, and I'm not a big fan of Vegas. You're not, I don't think, either. But no. I'll tell you what, I have the highest respect when those guys can actually win the cup.
You know, 100%.
It's
100%.
What they do, like, you got to think. These guys will all have their careers. Once their careers, they're forgotten. They're left in the dust. No one thinks about them anymore. A lot of these players, right? And yet they still have to take the medications and treatments and all that for all those injuries that they've suffered throughout their career. Like it's a wear. Now we all work for a living, yes, and we all take wear and tear on our bodies, but nothing like an NHLer. Yes, they get paid substantial amounts of money compared to you and I. But I don't know. I've always been a guy that wouldn't trade in my health for money. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But yeah, well, I agree with you on the fact that just like it's the hardest championship, I think, in professional sports to win as well. And I mean, like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Vegas either. Like, I was pulling for Florida, mainly because of the guy that's on the back of your Team Canada jersey there. Luongo would get a ring because he was part of the management team. Mm-hmm. And for also guys like Eric Staal, like, again, I also like the Hurricanes. It'd be cool to see Eric Staal get a cup, Mark Staal, Bobrovsky, Barkov, a number of guys. I wanted to see Florida win more than Vegas, but still, when that cup came out and they bring it out onto the ice, and that, Mark Stone is going to lift that cup, who's also had an incredible career up to this point.
Yep.
Like, for me, like, I feel, I don't get emotional per se, but like, I feel that sense of, I don't know, just like, this is an incredible thing to see every year, to see that trophy come out, the most beautiful trophy in sports to come out, and for them to lift that, and just like the pure energy and joy, which is something else that makes the NHL special, is because any other league, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but to my recollection, any other league, when a team wins the cup or wins a championship, the trophy usually goes to the owner. first.
Yeah.
You know, like in
CFL,
basketball, I'm pretty sure that happens.
I think CFL goes to the players. But yeah.
CFL goes to the players, but in terms of like the big name American leagues, the NFL goes to the owner first. I believe the NBA does. MLB, I think, does. I don't know about the MLS. But the NHL, you don't see the owner.
Yeah.
It's not there. He might be he might come out on the ice after like when the celebrations finally happen.
Because I know what's his name, the owner for Vegas. But yeah, he was out there.
Bill Foley.
Bill Foley. But he was one of the last guys.
Yeah, he was down there. Yeah, but that's the thing too, is like the last guys to get the cup are the management guys, the owner, and even coach. Like Bruce Cassidy was the first person to get the cup after all the players, I believe. You know, and then from Bruce Cassidy you get George McPhee, and then Kelly McCrimmon, and then Bill Foley. But like Bill Foley couldn't even lift the cup by himself. No. I think Kelly McCrimmon and him did it together because Bill Foley's like 1,000 years old. So,
but in all fairness, how many of those Vegas Golden Knight players you could hear it, and you always hear it on it. Holy F, that's heavy, right? Like how many players were actually saying it's heavy? So
the cup's like 35 pounds or something like that. Like
right above your head. It's
after playing a hockey game for 3 hours.
Have you ever touched the cup?
No, I've never even seen it in person. I
actually, like way back in the day when Blockbuster Video was still kicking around, so we're going back here. Okay?
Yeah.
They did a little tour of the Stanley Cup, and one day I just happened to go in to go get movies, and the Stanley Cup was at this particular location. I lined up, got my picture. I actually was touching where the Edmonton Oilers last won the cup, but obviously,
what year was this?
Oh, I still had hair.
Okay, so there's a reason Edmonton hasn't won the cup since, because of you.
Yep. Guys, sorry about that. We had a mic glitch with my mic. I don't know what happened. So I'm going to try to splice this together when it's all done and said. If not, it will be a part 1 and part 2 of today's episode. And I'll definitely edit out all the emotions and me getting frustrated with it, crapping out. So, Sammy, we were talking about the biggest thoughts and biggest surprises of this year's playoffs.
Right.
What really stood out for you?
Biggest surprise. There's a few big surprises. Obviously, Florida making their run was a surprise for sure. I think for the majority of hockey fans. I think another surprise was the fact that Adin Hill played as well as he did. In my opinion, like Adin Hill's like he's an NHL goaltender, so of course he's good. Like you have to be good to be in the NHL, but like the fact that he did what he did was pretty remarkable, and somebody's going to pay him this year because he's a free agent. Adin Hill was a surprise. I think as well, like Marchessault won the Conn Smythe. Him playing as well as he did, I think is a bit of a surprise as well. I don't know. Like there's just the whole playoffs. Like you get the fact that Florida went through like almost every number 1 team is hugely surprising.
Yeah, I'd say so. For me, the biggest surprise, I think goes right back to the first round with Seattle knocking out the champs.
Yep.
And with the Bruins, with the unbelievable season that they had this year, going out the way they did against a team that literally, if the Pittsburgh Penguins would have defeated the Chicago Blackhawks on one particular night, would have not even seen the day of light in the playoffs. And they end up going to the finals, which is remarkable.
Yep.
So for me, I think it's that first round. That first round was the most impressive thing. The most shocking thing was what happened in the second round with my Edmonton Oilers. I had much higher expectations. When Boston was eliminated, I really, truly believed that the road was paved for the Oilers to win the Cup this year. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So that, to me, is my big shocking things about what happened there. I always thoroughly enjoy the playoffs, Sam. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
There, I will watch those Stanley Cup final games. And I was just saying to the guys at work, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with myself now. I'm, we can do the channel. I'm going to be struggling for stories and that until things actually come to the surface. But yeah, it's kind of downtime now for me, but which is good. It's summertime. I should actually spend some time outdoors and go on from there. Okay, Sammy, let's talk about the buyout season. And I know you have a lot to say. So without further ado, I'm just going to let you rip into it. But I will give you the segue. The Canucks have bought out Oliver Ekman Larsson. And could Matt Murray be next? But I think you're going to be talking mostly on OEL since you are a Canucks fan and you are wearing the Canucks jersey tonight. You have the stage, Sammy.
Okay. I will touch on Matt Murray first, just because that'll be a much shorter point of conversation for myself. I don't know if Toronto does buy him out or not. They could. They could not. They can honestly just take him and throw him on LTIR, possibly too. Like if they deem that he's not healthy enough to play or find an excuse to throw him on there, they could do that as well. They could buy him out, and then I'm sure another team would. Somebody would be willing to take a chance on him. Who knows? Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. I didn't see enough Matt Murray games to really form an opinion on him for that wise. But you know who I did watch a lot of hockey games of this year? Oliver Ekman Larsson. I tried to watch every Canucks game as I could, being a Vancouver fan. But with Ekman Larsson, oh man, when I woke up to that news yesterday, I think I woke up to it. It might have been a little later in the morning, but I don't know. Anyway, when I heard about that news yesterday, my phone exploded. I got texts from my brother-in-law, from a couple of my buddies, and NHL.com sent me notifications, Sportsnet notifications. Like my phone just, and I got a text from you in that group chat where like my phone just boom, full of messages, and I was like, what the crap is going on? And then I read it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then shortly thereafter, I watched the Hockey Guys video on it, and I was like, wow, all right. Now, in talking to my friend, he asked me if I'm actually okay with this buyout happening. And the short answer is yes, I am okay with this buyout happening. The long answer is Vancouver needs to change. They need to change. They need to clear up cap space to be able to, for one thing, sign Pettersson long term, to bring in other people to be able to come in to, for one thing, especially fix their defense and to shore up their bottom six on their offense, particularly a third line center. Now, Oliver Ekman Larsson, when Vancouver traded for him, I was bewildered. I didn't understand why they needed to trade for him. At first, the rumors was it was just Oliver Ekman Larsson and Connor Garland going for Antoine Roussel, Lou Eriksson, and Jay Beagle. And I was like, that's fine. I guess cap in, cap out, whatever. And then the news came out that Vancouver also threw in their 9th overall pick that year to sweeten the deal a little bit for them taking their dead weight, even though Vancouver was taking dead weight back. Cool. Great. Awesome. Arizona draft Dylan Guenther. I'm totally not sour about that. I am. Anyway, that trade, the year before, there had been rumors that Jim Benning was trying to trade for Ekman Larsson the year before. So in the 2020 offseason. Now, why he wanted to do that, I don't know. Because that year, the 2019-2020 season, going into the COVID pause, etc., Oliver Ekman Larsson had 9 goals, 21 assists for 30 points. And he was a -3. Not great. I mean, 30 points in like 50 games, that's okay. But that's not great. The -3, also very telling and not very good. The following season, his last season in Arizona, he had 3 goals, 21 assists, and 24 points. He was also a -17. Why would you want to trade for a defenseman that is -17 and that puts up 24 points? Why would you want to do that? I don't know. I'm not Jim Benning. Anyway, then he gets traded to Vancouver, and arguably, potentially, the worst trade in Canucks history. I don't know. We'll see. There's been other pretty not great trades in the past. Now, for example, Vancouver giving up Cam Neely to Boston. That's not a very good trade. This one, though, it's pretty damning. It really is. In his first full season with the Vancouver Canucks, he put up 5 goals, 24 assists for 29 points. That's decent. That's okay. He was a +5 though. Not bad. All right, he was at a positive plus minus. Fine. This last season though, he had 2 goals, 20 assists, 22 points, which is not great. You know what's even more not great? He was a -24. He was a -24.
Ouch.
So after this last season, I was like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to get rid of him somehow. I thought a buyout would seem it was either impossible or just stupid. In principle, at the beginning of this year or towards the end of the season, I was like, oh, why would they buy him out? Them buying him out is actually really not that bad. His cap, he signed his contract extension with the Arizona Coyotes on July 1st, 2018. It kicked in his contract was an 8-year, $66 million contract, which equals out to about $8.25 million a year. Buyout, Arizona, when he got traded to Vancouver, Arizona retained 12% of his cap. The buyout now for him, this next season, he only has a cap hit of $146,000 for the Canucks, which means Vancouver clears up about $8 million in cap space this year for him. That's pretty good. $8 million of cap space is pretty good. Next year, his cap hit is about $2.4 million. All right, that's about $6 million off the cap. Decent. The next 2 years after that, he has a cap hit of about 4.76. All right, well, that's about $4 million of cap space. Okay, fine. The cap hit is supposed to jump way up by then, so that shouldn't be too bad. And then the last 4 years, he has a cap hit of 2.1. Arizona does have a bit of a cap hit penalty as well, since they retain salary. This year, only about $20,000, $320,000 next year, $650 for a couple years, and then $290 for the last 4. So, I don't know. For me, him being bought out gives Vancouver a bunch of cap space. It does. He gets a bunch of cap space gone, at least for this year. They can solidify a plan with Benning. Goodness gracious, don't bring that name up again. They can solidify a plan with Pettersson, give him a contract extension. Great. They can move on that way. Bring in whoever. They just needed the cap room, right? So him going and him being gone is great. They can shed the dead weight. And I liked Ekman Larsson when he was on the Coyotes. I thought he was good. And he was a good defenseman. Coyotes sucked, but he was a good defenseman. When he came in, I was like, he might be able to pick his game back up. And he did his first year and then just dropped off this year. So, I don't know. I'm glad he's gone. There's rumors that Tyler Myers is probably gone too, which might surprise people, but...
Well, they have to make some changes. Like, they have to.
Yeah.
You can't go with status quo and expect better results. Like, you just can't.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's definitely a healthy little bit of history there that you gave me on OEL and the Vancouver Canucks. That's for sure. I was like, wow, this is really -24. I never, like, obviously I don't pay attention to every player, but that's
bad. It's
that's
bad.
very, very bad. Very, very bad. Okay, Sammy, I think we're gonna wrap this up. I've got some work to try to splice together the 2 segments because of the little boo-boo that we had.
Yep.
But in the meantime, Sammy, why don't you send us off into... Oh, is it going to work? No, it's not going to work. I'm going to have to send us off, Sammy. Okay, so for you guys, I didn't put Sammy's... actually, I could... No, I think I could do it right now. We'll add you in right now, Sammy. There we go. Add you in. A little bit of a hiccup there, but...
I was like, you're good. You can do it. That's fine.
No, you got it. You got this. Go ahead, Sammy.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Hey guys, thanks for watching. For those of you that did, if you like this content, like this video, like 2 guys ranting about hockey, Yeah.
And like our
Yeah.
tech issues.
Yeah. We're still trying to figure things out as we go, but hey, we're the work in progress. Yeah, if you liked what you saw, click like, hit subscribe, spread this around your friends who also like hockey. Like I said, we're two guys who enjoy talking and ranting about hockey. So if you like that, then join us for the ride.
And we do apologize for the hiccups again, guys. It's a work in progress. We will get this figured out. At least I got the date right today, anyway, Sammy.
It's true.
Anyway, guys, we will see you next week. We do this once a week. Like I say, the times will vary due to our scheduling obligations, but we would definitely like you to come and join us. Below on the screen there, you can see there's a QR code that gives you a direct link to the NHL Aftermath YouTube page and a direct link to the uh, lube page that I run. And we definitely want to see you subscribe and help build us up, build this channel up. And we do promise to get better and have less tech issues. Unfortunately, this happens to the best of us. We will see you next week, guys. We're out. You guys have a great night.